What up, YouTube? Jay Riz here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jay Riz. I am an alcoholic in recovery. I do a channel called Recovery Warrior. If you happen to be scrolling and you hit on this channel, I welcome people on, struggling addicts and alcoholics, not so much struggling, but, we fight the battle every day. That's why this channel is called Recovery Warrior. I take it as we are warriors in recovery. If you've been through the struggle, the turmoil of addiction, you know the reason why we fight this addiction every day. For me, it's I gotta pray before I get up, or when I get up I gotta pray. If I don't, I'm screwed. I gotta let it go. I gotta let the God of my understanding have it, and I go out through my day. Sometimes I'll pray, sometimes I'll say the serenity prayer, but at the end of the day I'll say another prayer and thank him for a good day. And that's what I do because I'm in recovery, hence the word Recovery Warrior. I ask brothers and sisters to come on this channel. I asked a very good brother of mine to come on today. He's a brother from another mother, from the South. Some of you might know him, some of you don't. For those of you that don't know him, I'm going to go ahead and introduce him. He's my brother. His name is Laffie B. Welcome to the show, Laffie. Go ahead and take it away.
Oh yeah, thank you, Riz. My name is Laffie. I'm an alcoholic, drug addict in recovery. Let me see, I've been sober a little over 3 years now. My sober date is 7/7/20, so
Nice.
July 7th, 2020. I come from, originally from New Mexico, born in Gallup, New Mexico. I was raised down there. It's where my dad's side of the family's from. My mom's from up here. So before sobering up, all my time was spent down there. And first time I got high was, let me see, so first time I got high, I didn't get high until I was 16.
Did you smoke weed?
Knee surgery.
Oh, pills.
Yeah. First time I got high was a knee surgery, and it was the drip, the morphine drip, or whatever it was. Prior to that, I'll skip back to my childhood. Really good childhood. I had a good upbringing. I had two good parents when I was growing up. My dad, rest his spirit. He had his vices like any parent, but for the most part, he was a good parent. He was there. He provided. A lot of good teachings from him. Really good guy, When it comes to my mom, same thing. Saint. Never seen her drink. Never seen her. Was always there. Was always there. Was always caring.
You didn't grow up around alcoholism or addiction? You didn't. It wasn't in your house.
Yeah, it wasn't in my house.
Okay.
Like I said, my dad had his vices. He was a working man. Go to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week or whatever. He'd come home. Sometimes he wouldn't, But alcohol was never in my house. It was around. I had siblings that drank. On my dad's side of the family, I had family members that were homeless on the street. If you ever go to my hometown, Gallup, we drive down Main Street. Driving down Main Street is just all homelessness. The alcoholism is just right in your face. And I remember hearing my mom specifically saying, like, you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be like that. So that was something that was put in my mind at a young age, was stay away from that, because this is how you're going to end up, So I did my best to stay away from it, and eventually it just got to me, In high school, I had dreams of playing basketball, dreams of playing football, college, and I had knee injury when I was 16.
How'd you do that? Sports?
Yeah, playing football. I tore my ACL playing football. I tried to nurse it back. Tried to finish the basketball season, ended up tearing my MCL, my ACL. So I had a knee surgery, and I remember the date. First time I got high was April 7th, 2012. First time I got high. And I remember everything about it. Like, if I knew, like, I could describe, like, it was everything about it. Just something I had never felt before. Even though I had a good childhood, there was always something missing, There was always that sense of unease, that sense of discomfort that something missing, There was always something missing. And sometimes I would satisfy that through other things, but it was never fully filled. I remember feeling that day, and it was filled, you know, for 5 seconds or so, and then I passed out and woke up, and my knee surgery was over. And from that point, I didn't. That's not where my alcoholism or my drug addiction took off. I remember the doctor wrote me a script for some Lortabs or Hydros, and I didn't really I didn't take off right away. You know, I'd take some, I'd sell some, I'd give them out to my friends, and they weren't really. I wasn't really running from something at that point. You know, like the allergy wasn't triggered for whatever reason. You know, at that point the allergy wasn't triggered. Then I started experimenting. At this point, I had said I was never gonna mess around with drugs or alcohol. Prior to this, like I took a sip of alcohol when I was a kid. I took a sip. The allergy wasn't triggered. You know, had this knee surgery. They wrote the script. Allergy wasn't triggered. I started dabbling in weed. Started smoking weed on the weekends with my friends. Started drinking recreationally. I was, for the first like 3-4 months of my recreational drug alcohol use, I was able to keep it to a minimum, able to not black out, not make a fool out of myself. I guess partially just out of fear of not being that guy, you know, not being that guy on the street, you know.
Yeah.
That was in my mind.
What your mom was saying to you?
Yeah. I had a fear of being that guy, you know.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I drank hard liquor. It was, I think it was like, I was hanging out senior skip day when I was a junior. So I was hanging out with the kids that were older than me, skipping school, drinking. And somebody handed me a bottle of UV cotton candy. And there was like that much left in that fifth. And I'd never drank hard liquor before, so I didn't know it was that much stronger than beer, you know. So I slammed it.
Damn.
Slammed the bottle, and then they handed me a bottle of Kahlua. And I took as many sips as I could out of it, and then I blanked out. Ended up passing out by the fire, pissing on myself, you know.
Yeah.
And every time after that, I was chasing that.
Yeah.
I liked the feeling of, you know, even though I passed out, I embarrassed myself. I actually drove my dad's truck that night. I was driving my dad's work truck. And I remember I woke up by that fire at like 4 a.m. And I remember reaching in my pocket, my phone was dead, and I was like, damn, this is, because it was a school night, driving my dad's truck, and I was supposed to be back by midnight, and I was still in high school and whatnot. But I remember thinking like, damn, I gotta get home. So I hopped in my dad's truck, I drove home, and I remember I was driving. I stopped, I got some gas station burritos, and the people that sold me those burritos must have knew I was up to no good, you know, so they didn't call the cops on me or anything, but they gave me mayonnaise or mustard with my burrito instead of taco sauce. Yeah, they gave me mustard. I remember I hopped back in my car, started driving, and I started eating those burritos, and I put them, for some reason it just made me throw up all over my dad's dashboard, all over my dad's floor. And he had one of those trucks that you could, it was like plastic or linoleum floor.
Oh yeah, those mats or what?
Yeah.
Rubber mat.
Yeah, like, so I remember I pulled over. I'm kind of getting off track here, but I pulled over to the gas station or the car wash, washed it off, and I remember that smell. I remember that smell, and you would think that that's the first time I'd ever drank alcoholically. And just looking back now, like, if it were up to me, in my right mind, in my sound mind, if I had control, I would have said I'm never gonna do that again. I'm never gonna drink to that. I'm never gonna drink to that level again. But I didn't. After that, I chased that feeling, that burn, you know. I chased that burn every time I drank, and then shortly after that, my dad ended up passing away. Ended up dropping out of school. There was just some major life events that took place to where I was able to use those as justifications to drink heavily, drink alcoholically.
Like crutches almost? Like
Yeah. And
justifying your actions?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even so much that I was running from it, you know, it was just, I have this excuse now. There's a reason to feel good. Like, I have that reason to feel good now, so I'm gonna take that You know, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
And like I said, as a result of that, I ended up dropping out of school.
How old were you?
17 at that
So
point.
you were like a junior?
Yeah, I was a junior.
Dropped out.
Yeah, I was. It was actually, so my dad passed away in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up going back to school for a little period of time. Ended up getting kicked off the football team because of my getting high.
Yeah.
Got kicked off the football team. So after that, like, life was over, you know. And
Yeah.
my 17-year-old, like,
You were gonna be an NFL star.
that was my future. Yeah. I'm gonna be. I'm 5'10", but I'm gonna be
Yeah.
this college football player. And
Play for the Bears.
yeah. So like.
Nah.
That was so I self-sabotaged, you know. I sabotaged,
Yeah.
threw a pity party. I remember going to graduations later on that year and wanting people to, like, check up on me, you know.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Are you doing all right? Like, and I didn't get that. I remember sitting outside the graduation parties being like, damn, these guys don't even care about me, you know.
Mm.
And but yeah, it was just at that point, like, already. And I was only smoking weed and drinking at this point, but like that was what my life revolved around, drinking and getting high. So, I had that period of time. I decided to end up going back to high school.
So you went to high school, or did you go back and get your GED?
Yeah, I went back and I went to an alternative school and got my diploma.
Oh yeah.
At this point, I kind of at a certain point I was thinking I had the thought of, like, I shouldn't drink. I should just smoke weed, because every time I drink, like, something like that happened. I end up throwing up in the truck, or passing out, or trying to fight somebody.
Did you ever hear Brother Brandon's story?
Yeah.
Like the way he explains it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, that's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, for real, man. And like, so I had, at this point, I still had a little bit of control, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And when it came to weed, like, I was still just as dysfunctional, you know. I might not have embarrassed myself as much or been as dangerous or as reckless.
You were abusing weed too.
Yeah, definitely.
Bombers,
like,
you didn't need to and stuff like that.
Yeah, like smoking whole blunts by myself.
You just need a little pinner joint to feel high. And
Yeah.
Here you are. Yeah.
And I remember,
You can abuse it. Yeah.
I remember feeling like a fiend because after my dad had passed, like, I was just trying to quiet that voice, you know.
Yeah,
and I went and got on all kinds of prescription meds, like antidepressants, anti-anxiety, sleep meds,
Damn.
just whatever I could get from my doctor at the time at IHS. And I remember selling those to try to get weed.
The IHS is Indian Health Service.
Yeah,
Native American clinic.
And my dad had just passed, so I was selling his tools for weed.
Damn.
Really, really good shit, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I sold, like,
high-end tools.
welders and, like, conduit
Damn.
benders and a lot of stuff that was worth good money that I just hawked over for
A good half ounce or
an
something.
eighth, you know.
An eighth?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, $50.
Some crackhead prices.
Yeah, bro.
Damn,
And,
yeah, you was in it.
I was down bad, man. And like
Yeah.
at that point, like, I dropped out of high school. Like, my life is over.
Yeah.
That's how I felt at that point, you know. But it got worse, obviously. I ended up going back to high school, getting my diploma, and I remember coming up on a little money around that point, and I had these big dreams that I'm gonna be this dealer, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be this big dealer.
Scarface stuff?
Yeah, and my plan was I'm gonna get 2 ounces, then I'm gonna get a quarter pound, then I'm gonna get a half pound, and I'm gonna get the full, and
The American dream.
yeah, these were really my plans, man. Like, fresh out of after graduating high school.
Yeah.
And just I could never make it happen, you know. I would
'Cause you-
always, I
Cause
would
you always do it up.
Oh yeah, always mess the money up somehow. I'd end up blanking out, losing money, blanking out, losing whatever.
That's crazy. That's our addiction, huh?
Yeah, and
Damn.
you know, at this point, I'm living with my mom. I'm not helping out. I'm not contributing. I'm just kind of living, you know, and I'm just kind of there in the back room. Can I borrow your car? Can I borrow some money?
Yeah.
I'll help out with rent next month. I'll start paying my own phone bill, you know. And I was just, at 19 years, I was still a kid, you know, still a full-blown kid. And at that point, I didn't care. Like, I didn't see that, you know. To me, that was normal. Looking back, when I sobered up this last time, that was stuff that I felt really bad about. But in that moment, luckily I've been able to make amends for those things. But in that moment, it was just normal, you know.
Yeah.
So I ended up, for whatever reason, those dreams ended. Luckily, and I decided to go to school out in Oklahoma. And same thing there. My alcoholism followed me there. I got into drugs. Ended up graduating school for whatever reason, somehow.
Like high school?
No. This
College?
was trade school for welding.
Training or trade school.
Yeah, ended up graduating that out there,
Nice.
and somehow, like I had no idea how. That's where I got into meth, Xanax, Oxys, stuff like that out there, and drinking heavy. Really
turned the page on drugs and went to a little harder stuff, huh?
Yeah, and just I'm amazed that I made it out of there alive.
Yeah.
Really, kind of doesn't make any sense, you know. But somehow I made it out of there. Came back home, back to where I'm originally from.
Where's that?
Gallup, New Mexico.
Okay.
So I was out in Oklahoma, came back.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, I'm full blown alcoholic, drink every day, 5 4 Locos a day, just whatever I can get my hands on, you know. And at that point, again, that was my life. Rode this out for 2 years, 3 years, 2.5 years or so.
Back with mom?
Yeah, back with mom, still not contributing. I have this college education that she kind of co-signed for me to get, you know, like I'm back at mom's, I'm worse than I was before I left, and she's just trying to figure out, like,
what happened?
Yeah, and I ended up getting some jobs in that time, like
Mickey D's jobs and stuff?
Yeah, McDonald's was one of them, a movie theater, a car dealership.
Just simple jobs, huh?
Restaurant,
Just to do something or what?
Yeah, well, just to get booze money, really. Just to get some money to drink on, and
You still borrowing mom's car at the time?
Yeah. Whenever she would let me, you know, whenever she would let me, I'd borrow the car.
Did you act like it was yours?
Yeah. It was, if I was picking somebody up, it was mine, you know.
It's my car.
If I was meeting the plug, it was mine.
Yeah.
But I couldn't hold those jobs down. Drinking getting worse and worse. Events that were taking place at home, me coming home blank, me coming home tripping, me coming home strung out.
Was it just you and your mom at the time?
Yeah, just me and my mom.
She would put up with you, huh?
Yeah, and she was, and I tried my best to keep it to a minimum, but like I didn't have any control, you know. So like, and luckily she, you know, like I said, my mom's the same, man. And
she sounds like a damn good mom.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this wasn't the first time. I have other siblings that went through the same.
Older ones?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay. She's been through it then.
Yeah.
Your mom.
And luckily, she didn't give up on me, because I don't know what I would have done in her situation.
Right.
Always really thankful of that. But I guess kind of I made that first part of the story a little long, but so I ended up. I'll just kind of skip forward now. That continues on for 3 years, 2.5 years or so. I ended up borrowing my mom's car. I don't know if I really asked her that night or not, but borrowed her car, wrecked it, and just the way everything played out, the circumstances were just either I go to treatment or charges were going to be pressed on me. Again, like, my mom saved my ass right there. Saved my ass, because I probably would have just pressed charges. But I go to treatment. First time in treatment, I think I was 21 at this point. And I'm not there to be sober. It's a 60-day inpatient treatment, and I can't even remember where I was at. I don't remember any of the meetings. I don't remember any of the people I was in treatment with. I was just there to go, eat, get out. My plan was to get the Job Corps and start drinking and getting high again.
Yeah, and wicked reservations. Huh?
Yeah, the dream came back of, like, I'm gonna do it right this time. I'm gonna save up. I'm gonna get a check. I'm gonna do it right.
Yeah.
Graduate, go to Job Corps. I fall right back in it, drinking, getting high. Graduate from there. Ended up finally getting a job, a good job that I always wanted, welding. You know, I originally went to school welding. and I land that, um, and right off the rip, I ended up getting into fentanyl. Um, was making good money, but it was nowhere near enough to support my habit.
Yeah.
And I just become reclusive. You know, that was the only. Even when I was on the clock, I was working 8 hours a day, 10 hours, sometimes 12. But you know, taking 10 smoke breaks a day, 20 smoke breaks a day. I couldn't if I didn't have it, I couldn't operate.
Oh, this was fentanyl?
Yeah.
You were smoking?
Yeah, smoking fentanyl. And when I had it, I was good. My workout was spot on. You know, I thought I was good.
You're a functional drug addict, huh?
Yeah. More. I was a little more functional at that than I was at drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
And when it came to that, man, like I only did that for about a year and a half, but it completely engulfed my life. You know.
Yeah. Which it usually does, you know.
Yeah, and I thought it was in the beginning when I remember taking a look at it and thinking, this is it, you know, this isn't anything I'm gonna be able to control it.
Wow.
And it didn't take very long. It probably took about a week of me doing it recreationally before I was hooked, physically addicted.
Damn.
And so.
What scared you out of that? Like, what got you out of the fentanyl? Like,
not having really like.
Being broke. Couldn't afford it, huh?
In the end, so there was a couple. I took a couple trips to treatment in between that year and a half that I was on it, and I remember the time before I sobered up at Good Road. This last time, that's the last treatment I went to, but the one I went to before that, I went to like 3 months before I went and checked into my last treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember really wanting to quit, and I knew I had no way of doing it successfully. I knew I couldn't smoke weed successfully. I knew I couldn't drink successfully. And I really wanted to quit, man. I remember just being like so empty. Like I remember trying to pray. I remember I was in psychosis. My brain was all over the place. I couldn't function. I couldn't go to work anymore. I couldn't be around family anymore. I couldn't function. And yeah, I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment, my sister's apartment complex at the time, and just trying to pray and trying to find like some kind of hope, and it wasn't there anymore, you know? Like there was no hope left.
Damn.
And
can you say that was your rock bottom? Or did you get deeper?
No, because I got out of that treatment and fell off, you know? So I checked myself into treatment that time because I was sitting on my floor just broken, like I knew I was there. Like I'm about to die, you know? Like that's where I was at with my life. Like I almost would have preferred death at that point. But I ended up going to treatment for 30 days and was like in it, man. Was like, I know I had some fire shares in that treatment center. You know what I mean? Like it was all made up shit. Like it was nothing for real, but I know I had some fire, bro.
Yeah.
And was really trying. But at this point, like I work a 12-step program now, and at that point, like that wasn't something I was willing to commit to. I wasn't willing to commit to sober living. I wasn't willing to commit to getting rid of my old friends. Like in my mind,
you still had the reservations.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, wow, get high again.
Well, no. Like at that point in treatment, I was like done. You know, I was done. In my mind, that whole 28 days I was in treatment, I was done. I'm never getting high again. I'm never drinking again. Not even weed. Like, and then I get out. This was in like, I went like April, May, get out in June. And so I think I get out on a Thursday. Saturday night, I'm at this skate park. I'm hanging out with one of my friends, and I knew there was going to be alcohol there. And I remember I pulled 2 Dos Equis out of his pack, and I remember I told myself, I'm just going to drink these 2. After saying, done. So I open up this. I drink the first one. I don't feel anything. Drink the second one, it hits. And now I'm just like, I got to get my own 18. You know? I got to get my own 18.
Damn.
And then
it was back off to the races.
Yeah, then we need the 8 ball, and then we need the crack, and then I need some fentanyl the next morning to deal
Floodgates
with.
were open, huh?
Yeah, and I was, after saying I was going to be done,
Yeah.
you know? And at that point, I think after that, I relapsed and I was out for like another 2 months after that. A month and a half or something. And in that month and a half, it was like I was done, man. Like, there was no hope for me. That's what I thought. I really thought there was no hope for me. I didn't think being sober was
important.
No, I didn't think it was possible, really.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I didn't think it was possible for me. Like, I thought as soon as you got on the drugs that so many of us have been on, like, there's no hope, you know? Like, I thought I was going to be hooked on that forever. Like, there's no hope. I ended up wrecking another car. Ended up wrecking my car. Broke. Stimulus was coming out. Around that time, I spent all my money, got strung out again, and then my sister just said, "You can't live with me anymore." My other sisters, I can't live with them anymore. My mom said, "You're cut off, you're done."
Burn some bridges, huh?
Yeah, and it was either like I go to detox and I go to treatment one more time, or I just be homeless.
Yeah.
And
be that dude on the street.
Yeah, and I remember that being a really hard decision to make, and like there was so many times where I just wanted to walk out, you know, like. And luckily, like, I got sisters that are supportive, that are there for me, and they stay with me till the end, man. And they were like, "If you want to leave, you can leave, but if you want to come back, we're here. Like, if you want help, we're here." And luckily, I took the help. But I came up here to treatment, and I remember reservations. I need $5,000.
Wow.
That was my plan.
Yeah.
My whole 4 months in Good Road, and like my first probably whole month in sober living, $5,000, and I'm gonna go back home. And I remember it was just I was so far away from home, you know, so far away from anything I had ever known, coming up here. And for some reason, man, like I said, I had a pretty good childhood, you know.
Yeah.
Like there was some trauma, there. There was some negative stuff that happened there, but nothing major, you know. So I heard stories from people that did have major shit that happened to them when they were kids. Major, you know, like really went through real hardship. And something just didn't sit right about me trying to justify my past as a reason to use, you know?
Right.
So I was thinking, like, if these guys can do it, which were, I won't mention names, but there was like 4 guys when I came up here. If these guys can do it, all 4 of these guys, their story is kind of worse than mine. Like, I'm kind of a puss if I can't, you know?
Yeah.
So ego kept me in it. And I held off long enough to finally, like, truly submit. Not just submit my future with drugs and alcohol, but submit myself, you know? Submit my pride, submit my, I remember the day too. I remember it was Valentine's 2021. This was like 3 months or so after I got out of Good Road and came here to sober living.
Yeah. Here in Bismarck.
Yeah, those first 3 months I didn't really. I had a sponsor, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was just doing it to do it. You know.
Get off restriction.
Yeah, I got off restriction, man. And I remember I was driving around the van and kind of popping into meetings and whatnot, but I wasn't taking it seriously.
You weren't doing the deal, huh?
Yeah, I wasn't doing the deal. Like, it was just all lip service, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't even that, because it was, like, nothing genuine about it.
Right.
But I remember sitting in my room in sober living, looking at my bank account. I remember my goal was $5,000, and I had $3,400. And I was so unhappy with myself, man. So unhappy with life. I liked the people around me, but like, I didn't feel like them, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't feel how they felt. And I didn't know this at the time, but I didn't feel how they felt because I wasn't doing what they did. And like I said, I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
But I just thought, like, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to go back home, or I'm going to really try this. And I had another friend at the time that was really doing it, was one of those people, an example of that I could do it, you know what I mean? Was really doing the deal. So I decided to get the same sponsor as him. and really try. And you know, my life got everything got better. My attitude towards life got better. My attitude towards my fellows got better. Just everything got better, man. Things started falling in place. I was someone that I never had self confidence or always never had that before. You know, I started feeling that. Like I started feeling how it felt to feel good about yourself, and that's something I hadn't had in like 8 years, 9 years. You know, and that was my experience in active addiction and sober living and treatment. You know, since then life it continues to get better. And I know I play a really small role in that, you know. I got to move my feet and do a little bit of action, but I know that I really don't control what happens, or I don't own any of the things that I have, you know. I truly believe that I'm living on borrowed time, you know, because there were times where I was sitting in my car strung out with the heat on. It's 90 degrees outside. I'm freezing, you know.
Wow.
And like I remember just wanting to be gone.
Yeah.
And I was all right with that, you know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the strength to do. I don't want to say strength or courage, but like I didn't have. I wanted to be gone, and I couldn't do that myself, you know.
Right.
But there was times when I was like almost praying for that, you know. And for some reason I wasn't given that, and I was given this. And I live a beautiful life, man. I get to see a lot of people live beautiful lives. It's awesome what's happened.
So today, like, what do you do today for your recovery?
So I work with other alcoholics. There's so many things that I do. You know, like prayer's a big one. Family's a big one. Just try and show up, try and be there. Because before I wasn't somebody anybody could rely on, you know.
Yeah.
I was
like all of us in addiction, you know.
Yeah.
Just sneaky conniving little guys, you know.
Yeah. So now I try and show up, man. I try to stay out of my head.
Sometimes it's hard though, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to this program though, like we got the tools to identify that.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's been a long time since I've really went through it, you know.
Yeah.
Every now I will get in my head, and I will have a bad day, you know. Like
we're human beings, you know.
I take that back. I won't have a bad day, but I'll have bad moments, you know.
Yeah.
And where my attitude isn't where it should be.
Can you correct it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try my best, you know. There's some days where I might go to bed not 100%, you know.
Yeah.
But like that's really what it is though. Like I'm living on borrowed time.
Yeah.
And I should be thankful for every moment that I've been given.
And seconds and inches, is that what they say?
Yeah, man. Like that, yeah. Definitely. And I remember there was so before I got into sober living, my plan was to go down to Arizona. And my reasoning behind that was I'm only 400 miles away from the plug and the cousins, you know. That was my plan, and I talked some people into letting me do that, and they're like, that was the plan. And I remember one of our bosses now, one of my big brothers, ended up calling me on that, and he said, it's not a good plan. You don't know this right now, but it's not a good plan. You're not going down here. You're not going to Arizona. You're staying up here in North Dakota, and that really saved my life.
Yeah,
that saved my life. Because I know I already had plans to get down there.
With all that cash?
Yeah, and like get down there, isolate, and it was gonna go south.
Yeah.
12-step work, working with other alcoholics, showing up for the family, showing up for my friends, just trying to show up where I can, try and get back. That's where that self-esteem comes from that I feel now, you know. My whole life it was always poor me, pity me. I don't feel good about myself. I don't have no self-esteem, but that's because I wasn't doing esteemable acts, you know. something that I stole from somebody.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll say that to you. I'm gonna borrow that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. Thank you. No. But yeah, today's a wonderful life, huh? Like, so what do you do for your family life? You're a family man now?
Yeah.
You have a child and whatnot?
That's my little one was born about just a little under a month ago.
Awesome.
First daughter.
Yeah.
And that's something too. That's something I never thought I would have been blessed with. You know, something that I never had the honor of doing. And it's awesome to be able to show up.
Yeah.
For my girlfriend, I try my best to show up for my girlfriend. Be there, be supportive. She does the best for me too.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Her two little guys. Try my best to show up for them. Be there for them. Be a role model.
That's cool.
Just be somebody I would have wanted around when I was a kid.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like our childhood is just so, sometimes, you know, it can be broken, but we don't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
You know, because we're living that life, you know, that's the life we live. Even today, this is the life we live. We see nothing wrong with it. But months, maybe years down the line, we'll be like, damn, I can't believe that happened that day. Or, you know, it's just because we're living in these moments, you know.
Yeah.
And these moments are what we make of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I'm older, and I've been through various failed relationships, marriages, and, you know, I've been through, I was the stepdad. You know, I took on little children and stuff, and, you know, I didn't know at the time that I was a role model, but obviously I was still stuck in turmoil of addiction. You know, I had reservations.
Yeah.
And I screwed up a lot of relationships because of my addiction. You know, I always wanted to drink. I always wanted to smoke some bud, you know, thinking that was cool. But I just end up abusing everything, you know.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man.
Definitely, yeah. Every time I said I wasn't gonna do it, or I was gonna slow down, or I wasn't gonna crash the car, you know, like it was inevitable.
Yeah.
Like it was inevitable, and I knew it. Like there was times in my life before I sobered up where like I knew I was throwing it away. So like I didn't lose anything. Like everything that I had before, like I gave away.
Yeah.
Like I gave away for the drug or the drink.
Yeah.
And at that time, like it was worth it to me, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
And luckily, I've been relieved of that. Cause yeah, like I said, man, I didn't plan to make it out. I didn't plan to make it to 2024. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Even like these days, like sometimes I contemplate. I don't really contemplate. I don't know what's weird. I just think about death. You know, because death is just right around the corner sometimes. You know. I mean, you can just end your life like that. And I think when I think like that, it's like, man, you got to make the most of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pass this message, you know, borrow this guy $5 if you have, you know, $3, you know.
Yeah.
It's just to me, it's just like make the most of this day, because it can end in a heartbeat. Doom, you know. And us guys in active addiction, we could have died so many times, you know.
Yeah,
back then when we were using in the shit, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy that you say that, because I'll have thoughts of that too. Like we just went to Minneapolis this past weekend, and for some reason, like I just wasn't feeling 100%, and like maybe I was short or just not a good attitude, you know.
Yeah.
Mentally, I might have been fine, like externally, but internally, I didn't feel 100%. And I remember we were on an escalator going up the stairs or something, and I caught myself and thinking like, you know, I shouldn't be like. I'm lucky to have this.
Yeah.
It could be gone.
Right.
I could be just chilling at home, bored. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other places. Like, enjoy this to the best of my ability. Enjoy this.
Awesome.
And it was, that was, to me, that's like, that's the spiritual experience.
Yep.
You know, being able to correct myself in a moment when I'm not fully appreciative of something.
Yep. Yeah, for me too, like in my relationship, I'm an ugly dude. You know, I have this ugly attitude when it comes to women, but by me doing my steps, I'm able to identify that. And when that creeps up into my relationship with my lady, I'll correct it and I'll stop it. And I'm like, hey, dude, you don't have to be that guy no more.
Yeah.
And I stop it before it happens.
Yeah.
And the outcome, the outpour of the gates opening is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of like a loving dude now, you know. I'm not that dickhead, you know, that ugly guy.
Yeah.
Because my number one character defect is selfishness.
Yeah.
I'm a selfish bastard, man. I got told that by my sponsor, you know, and that hurt. But by me getting told that, now I can correct that shit, you know?
You can't hide from it
Yeah,
anymore.
it's like...
Sometimes I'll catch myself getting away from, like, doing my 10s or 11s, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's easy.
And then I realize, like, I'll be, like, washing dishes or something, and I'm pissed off because I'm washing dishes, you know? Like, nobody told me to wash the dishes. I chose to, and then I chose to be pissed off about it, which is, like... where does that come from? You know, why is that happening?
Exactly, man.
Why do I choose to do that? And it's almost like I'm mad at myself. Right. Like there's nobody else to.
You're just creating something for yourself, and no reason to.
Or I'll be in traffic, or like I missed a turn in Minneapolis the other day, and I was so mad. Like I was like muttering, like stuttering under my breath, like talking shit.
Yeah.
And and, like that doesn't have to happen, man. But I'm responsible for making sure that doesn't happen today. And if it does happen, to correct it. But preferably, like, I would rather that stuff just not happen, you know?
One thing that creeps back to is what Kyle Whitebarrow says, what his brother Manny told him. He's like, you don't have to live that way no more.
Yeah.
And that pops in my head all this time now. You know, all these things I hear in recovery, it's like every little bit I take, and it pops back up every once in a while. It's like, damn, you know, I'm creating this wall of energy, you know, positive energy that I use every day. Like, you don't have to live that way no more.
Yeah.
You know, I tell myself that, and I don't.
It's crazy because, like, now that I've been coming up on 4 years sober, and like I've been relieved of drugs and alcohol, like I don't, like there's no reservations there anymore. That voice is always in the back of my head, you know, like that's what I want to be relieved of. Is that voice, and I got to keep chasing that, you know. I gotta keep chasing relief from that voice, like, and that voice comes in the forms of selfishness, you know, dishonesty, greed. There's all kinds of, you know, like,
there's all kinds.
And that's what I really need to be relieved of.
There's like, they're almost like the deadly sins, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're different before. We'll get into that later. So that being said, I guess this concludes. Do you have any shout outs for anybody? Or you want to shout anybody out?
Shout out Justin Marcet, my beautiful girlfriend, Veronica Leeson. Shout out Jay Riz for having me here. Everybody at MHA Sober Lodge. Anybody struggling right now, hopefully something I said could help you. Hopefully something Jay Riz said could help you. There's a way out, man. Thank you for helping me.
All right, thank you, brother. Thank you for being on. Like I said at the beginning, my name is Jay Riz. They call me Jay Rizzo. You can reach me on my Facebook page, Recovery Warrior. Same title as the channel here. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Tell your friends. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe this. If you have any comments, write them down below. Me and Laffie will get back to you on them. I'll have him back on in a few months. We'll do a check-in with him. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys' views, your likes, the love you guys have been giving me. Stay tuned because there will be more. I have a weekly guest on every week. We're going to do different locations and whatnot. Like I said, thank you for the support. And if you like what you see, hit that like. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. Love you. Bye.